Hi fellow jazz blues nerds all over the globe, Sandra Sherman here. Greetings from a very hot Austria today. Today I'll be showing you how to improvise over a jazz blues in B flat on guitar. I'll show you all the scales and arpeggio needed, plus a ton of licks and lines for each of the chords in the jazz blues chord progression. At the end of the lesson, I'll connect it all together and we get a whole chorus of jazz blues. I made tabs and the scale diagrams and also backing tracks, and you can download all this stuff down below in the description box. All right, please like the video if you like it, subscribe to my channel and share the love. All right, let's dig right into the jazz blues soloing. All right, first let's have a look at the chord progression of a jazz blues in B flat. All right, let's take a look at the first degree of the scale. As I said, we're in the key of B flat, but the thing is with blues, we are not really in the key of B flat major because most of the chords are seventh chords, like this B flat 7 or B flat 13. So it's a dominant chord, and dominant chords only appear on the 5th degree of the major scale. So this actually can't really be 1. We count it as 1st degree because we're in B flat, but it's actually the 5th degree of another scale. And to know what scale that is, we have to go 5 degrees back. So this is a 5th. So let's take any B flat, where we have a lower string left below, and go back a 5th, and we land on that E flat. So we're actually, the 1st degree is the key of E flat, but played against a B flat 7 chord, it's called B flat mixolydian. It's nothing else but an E flat major scale with the focus tones, the tones where you end or where you land, being those of the B flat 7 chord. Okay, let's quickly go through that scale. Here's the B flat. And here's the B flat 7 arpeggio. So you can land on any of these chord tones, play the entire scale but land on any of these chord tones. And now let's learn some line for this scale. Here's example 1. This is our first blues lick in the key of B flat mixolydian. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, I start with hammering from the minor third to the major third. So this is the 6th of the G to the 7th of the G string, sorry. Hammer on this. Then I play the arpeggio, the 6th of the B string, the 9th of the B string, and the 6th of the E string, and I slide into that from 1 fret below. 1 and triple a 2. And then back to the 9th of the and the 6th of the B. And that's it. It's just a dominant 7 arpeggio lick, actually. Okay, here it is in slow tempo. 3, 4, 1. Again. 3, 4, 1. And here's another B flat mixolydian line that you can play over the 1st degree. 3, 4. All right, this time I use a B flat 9 arpeggio. This is the same as a D half diminished chord, which occurs here, 5, 6, 5, 6 in a 4 strings, and I arpeggiate this. We start on the 5th of the A string. That's the 3rd of the chord, okay, the major 3rd. 5th of the A string, 8 of the A string, then the 6th of the D string, and the 5th of the D string. The rhythm is maybe a little tricky. 1 and triplet. So there's a rest for a triplet 8. 1 and triplet. Then I slide to the 7th of the G string. This is the 3rd of the chord. And I target that at count number 3. It's very important that you play your chord tones on beats, like 1, 2, 3, 4, not on off beats. Then I go back to the root, and that's the 8th of the D string. Then I want to go to the 6th, but I have a chromatic in between which I can perfectly take advantage of here. 7th, and then to the 6th. All right, and here's the entire phrase at slow tempo. 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. It doesn't really sound like a blues yet if we don't add some blues scale stuff in there. All right, and I guess you probably know that B flat minor pentatonic here on the 6th fret, and I'm inserting it right now, and we add a blue note here. Blue note. So let's blend the B flat blues scale with the B flat mixolydian scale and play a lick. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, I start with the blues scale on 1 and 6th fret of the G string. I go up the blues scale, 8, 9, and the 6th of the B string. 1 and triplet. It's all gonna be triplets. 1 and triplet. We can actually hammer this. 1 and now I go back this B flat triad, and this is the mixo scale. This is part of the mixo scale. So I go back from here to the 7th of G and the 8th of D, and also the 6th of D. So we have not only a triad but a 7th. This is a dominant arpeggio again. The same we had first in the first line. All right, 1. And now I change back to the blue scale again, going 8 of A, 7, here's the blue note, and the 6th. All right, here's the whole thing at slow tempo. 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And here's another lick for the 1st degree, the B flat 7 chord. And I'm just playing a kind of a mixed scale ascending. All right, here it is. 3, 4. I start on the root, that's the B flat, 8th of the D string. Then I go up the blue scale, 6th of the G, 8th of the G, then I slide to the blue note on the 9th fret, and the 6th of the B string. The last 3 ones were triplets. 1 and triplet. Oops. And now I continue with the mixo scale. This is the 6th from the mixo scale. We're on the 8th fret of the B. Then the 9th fret, this is the 7th. Then the 6th, that's the root, and the 8th fret of the E string, and that's the 9th. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now let's take a look at the 4 chord, and that's the E flat. So it's a dominant chord again, E flat 7, E flat 9, E flat 13, whatever you like. But it's a dominant chord, and that means it's not the E flat major scale. We have to go back a fifth to determine its root again. So if I take E flat and go back a fifth, what I get is A flat. So we're actually, in this very moment at the 4 chord, we're in the A flat major scale. But since the underlying chord is an E flat 7, we call it E flat mixolydian, which is nothing else but the A flat major scale, but focusing on the E flat chord, which means landing on the chord tones of E flat 7. All right, first let's take a look at that scale diagram for this chord form or this chord form. All right, we start on the 6th. All right, and of course we want to outline that E flat 7 chord, else it sounds very A flattish. All right, so we want to have an E flat sound, E flat 7 sound. So let's learn the arpeggio to know where we can land. We start on the E flat, G, B flat, and D flat. And next octave, E flat, G, B flat, D flat. There would be another fifth here, but let's start from the E flat. All right, now let's do something with it and learn a couple licks. So our first lick is going to be really, really short, but I like it a lot. It's just E flat 7 arpeggio tones. It's always good to land on this, if we change over to the E flat 7 very quickly, like in that second bar. I slide from the 7th of the B string to the 8th. That's our third of the chord. Then I go to the 6th of the E, back to the 8th of B, and I skip one string and go to the 8th of the D string. And this is derived right from this E flat 7 chord. Right? 3, 4. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. And here's another one for E flat 7 for our 4th degree. 3, 4. This time I'm featuring an E flat 9 chord. I start on its 3rd again, and this gives me actually a G half diminished. That's the same thing we had before in the 1st degree with the D half diminished. Now we have a G half diminished, which also is an E flat 9. I start on the G, that's the 5th of the D string. Go up the arpeggio, the 8th fret of the D, 5th of the 8th fret of the D, 6 of G, and 6 of B. Then the 8th of B. Then I have a chromatic, the 7th, and I pull it off to the 6th again. This is my arpeggio, and I have a chromatic in between. And now I land on the E flat. Perfect. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and slower. 3, 4. Next up is the E diminished chord, and the easiest and most effective way to improvise over a diminished chord is to arpeggiate it. Let's do that. We start on the E, that's the 7th fret of the A string. Then 5 and 8 of D. We go up in minor thirds. It's a symmetrical chord. Then we move the index to the 6th of G, and then the 9th, 8 of B, 6 and 9 of E. Now make sure to be able to play that entire arpeggio up and down, but then More important is we usually play up to the 2-end or 3-end. So what I like to do on diminished, when that diminished chord arrives for just only 1 bar, I play only 4 notes up to the 2-end, because that's a very common way to end a phrase. So make sure to practice the following thing. Play from every tone available in the arpeggio 4 consecutive notes. Okay, start on the first one, on the E, and play 1 and 2 and 4 notes, and back. Now take the next one. This was the second tone, the 5th of D string, and play 4 notes. Then the next one. Then the next one. And the next one. I think we're going to be using this one then for our entire jazz blues solo. All right, so make sure to be able to play 4 consecutive tones out of this arpeggio. And now it's for that G7 altered chord. We're on the 6th degree, and this is where the jazz blues is different from a regular blues. Because we have that 6th degree in there that doesn't happen and doesn't occur in a regular blues. So we play altered over this, and there are many different ways to play over a G altered chord. I'll show you the most common one, and that's the G altered scale. It's called altered because it features all the tensions are altered. We have a flat 9, a sharp 9, a sharp 11, and a flat 13 in there, plus the chord tones 1, 3, 7. There's no 5th in that scale though. So this is actually, there's a formula for that. If you already maybe know the melodic minor scale, then if you have a G altered chord, then you move up half a tone, a semitone, and play the melodic minor scale from there. So for G altered, play the A flat melodic minor scale. And this gives us this shape in this position. We start on the 6th fret. Root. Root. All right, let's play some licks over that. I start on the 3rd of the G7 chord. Here would be a G7 chord. It's not altered, it's just a G7 chord, root. And I start from its 3rd with the middle finger. Then so that's the 7 of E, then the 8 of B, that's the root, the G. And we're gonna be around this root all the time now. Then I go to the sharp 9th, that's the 6th of the E, the flat 9, that's the 9th of the B. And back to the root, that's the 8th of the B string. Then I have a chromatic, and I pull this off to the 6th, which is the 7th of the chord. And the last note is the 8th of the G string. And then we need to resolve this. This is going to be the next chapter right in a couple seconds. Slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we have a cadence. That means we have a 2-5-1 progression in the key of B flat. This is a C minor, F7 or altered, and to the B flat, usually major, but in blues it's the 7th chord. So let's have a look what we can play at C minor. This is the resolution of the Preascending, is that the correct word, of chord, the G7 altered chord. And this resolves to C minor. So the C minor would function as a one chord, and thus it would be Aeolian. There is one note that sounds a little strange in Aeolian, the flat sixth. The other one would be, since this is a 2-5 progression, C minor to F7, it also functions at the same time as a 2 chord, and that scale for a 2 would be Dorian. There's also an awkward tone in there. So you can either mingle these two together, or what I like to do when it's just one bar and it's the resolution from a 5 chord to the 1 chord, I like to play the pentatonic with a ninth in there, because this leaves out, this omits both of those Dorian and Aeolian, those two avoid notes. All right, so I play a C minor pentatonic, 6, 8, 6, 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 6, 8, 6, 8. And I add a ninth in there because this gives me a nice color. And the ninth of the C is D. So here we have a first D on the fifth of the A string. Then the pentatonic continues. Then on the G string I have another D. And the pentatonic continues. And now I can do nice things with that without having to watch out for any avoid notes. All right, our first lick for the C minor 9 chord is the C minor, or C minor chord is the C minor 9 pentatonic chord lick. All right. I start right on that ninth. That's the 7th of the G string. Then I go up the pentatonic, 6B, 8B, 6E, and then I slide to another ninth. This is another D on the 10th fret. I slide from, I think, the 8th fret, yeah. 7, 6, 8, 6, 10. And the rhythm is ba ba da da da. 3, 4, 1, 3, 4. As for the 5 chord, we play exactly the same scale as for the 6 chord, and that's the altered scale. But this time we're in F altered. And as we learned, if we want to alter something, the scale would be one semitone up, that would be F sharp, melodic minor. So we play F sharp melodic minor, which is F7 altered. That's a 7th degree of the F sharp melodic minor. Okay, and here's a pattern for this. Start on the 7th fret. And here's an example line for F7 altered. Okay, we start on the sharp 9 of the F7 sharp 9 chord. That's the, what is it, 5, 7, 9th fret. Losing orientation here. 9th fret of the B string. Going down to the 7th and pulling off to the 6th. It's all within our altered scale that I showed you before. Then the 8th fret, which is basically just going down the altered scale. 8th and 6th of G. And then we omit a note and we go directly to the 7th, sorry, of the D string and pull it off to the 6th. And our last note is the F sharp. And then the resolution will be in the turnaround, which I'm going to show you next. But first, let me play this slowly for you. 3, 4. 1, 2. The last thing we need to learn is the turnaround, and it's very important to play a good turnaround. There are several ways to do this. I'm gonna show you a motif way that's very simple but effective. Actually, the turnaround consists of the last 4 chords we had, and those were the 1 chord, B flat, the 6th chord, G7, or here, the 2 chords, C minor, and F7 altered. But this time we played half bars. So this is something like, and resolution to the 1. All right, since these are half bars, they happen so very quickly, we can't play full scales. Okay, at least not if you're starting out. Focus on the chord tones and learn, create yourself a couple of these lines and learn them by heart. That's the most effective way in the beginning, okay? So what we're gonna do is, we come from this F7 altered, we need to resolve it to the B flat 7. We know several lines already, but we're not gonna use a line, but we know where to land on the chord tones. And here's a chord tone. See that B flat 7 here? Simple cowboy chord. We would never play that in jazz, but it's good for seeing actually the chord tones. And I resolve here on the 8th fret of the A string, and then I play in 6th, and this is where my motif starts. So 8 of A, and then the 7th of the G string. Those are the 5th and the 3rd of the chord. So I come from the altered line, 1 and then I have a little time left, 2, and on 2 or 3 I already change over to the 6th chord, the G altered. Now I'm not going to play the whole G altered scale, there's not enough time, but I play the essence of the chord, and for me that's a G7 flat 9 maybe. And what I see in here, within this chord, I have another 6th, namely the 9th of the D string and the 9th of the B string. These are the 3rd and the flat 9 of the chord. Perfect. And it also fits my 6th motif. Oops. And then on C minor, look what smiles at me. A C minor chord with a 6th included. So I go down 1 half step to the 8 and 8 of D and B strings. So I already have B flat 7, G7, C minor 7, and guess what? F7 is the same as G, but a 2 below, so I'll move 1 to the left and have 7, 7 of D and B strings. This F7 flat 9 chord. And voila! All I need to do is resolve it back to the 1 chord, which is the next chorus already, but we're gonna include that. So by now we have B flat, G altered, C minor, F altered, and resolution B flat 7. I just play an arpeggio backwards. So this is 5th of the, that's the 6th of the B string, which is the 5th of the chord. Then the 7th of the G string, the 6th of the D string, and the 8th of the A string. So here's the entire turnaround at slow tempo for you. 3, 4. 1 and 2 and. So let's put it all together. I've made an entire chorus of jazz blues with using only the examples that we've learned so far. I'm gonna play it in a quite moderate slow tempo, and I'll insert the example numbers so you know what example it is I'm playing at this very moment. All right. Thanks, folks, for taking that jazz blues ride with me. It was a blast and honor to teach you. I hope you liked the video. If you do so, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification to never miss out on a new video. Please share the love and the knowledge. I see you next week. Ciao, ciao. Servus, baba.